1,000 skeletons unearthed in excavation of 1500s French Abbey. Archaeologists excavating a sprawling French 16th-century abbey uncovered a trove of more than 1,000 skeletons and ritual religious objects. French archaeologists have spent 14 months working at the remains of the Beaumont Abbey site in Tours in the Loire Valley. It was once home to an order of Benedictine nuns, and it's the first time a European abbey has been excavated. According to the Miami Herald, the abbey's foundations date to 1002, and it was used by Benedictine nuns until 1790 when they were expelled at the start of the French Revolution. Also discovered beneath the church's ruins was a village dating to between the 9th and 10th centuries. On February 16, the Institut National de Recherches Archéologiques Préventives, INRAP, issued a news release detailing the extraordinary finds. Philip Blanchard, manager of the excavations, told officials they discovered an entire church, an entire cloister, all periphery buildings and facilities, the abbey dwellings, the refectory, the kitchen, the parlor, cellars, ovens, pipes, washhouses, latrines, an icebox, dumping areas, and even the gardens. 3 separate structures were discovered. The first was a small church with an apse, a dome-like structure, which archaeologists believe may have been the village's place of worship. Then, in the 11th century, a larger church was built, flanked by 2 small chapels and apses that included a cloister and peripheral buildings. The final structure is believed to have been built between the 12th and 13th centuries and was an ambulatory, aisles around the apse. Blanchard said at least 60 nuns lived at the abbey in the 16th century, but by 1790 there were only 46. Domestic staff also lived at the site, so archaeologists believe around 100 people lived there at one time. However, at least 1,000 skeletons were discovered throughout the abbey, including in a parish cemetery, nun cemetery, servant cemetery, and the village's cemetery. Blanchard said archaeologists found many elaborate tombs that likely belonged to high-ranking members of the order. Nuns were found buried in the church's nave in wooden coffins filled with crucifixes, small bone crosses, and medals. Other graves were discovered with chalices, stoles, and fabric inside, and pot shards were also discovered. Newsweek reported that remains of very young children, less than a year old and likely dating back to the 10th or 11th century, were discovered close to the church. They were probably buried there because they had died without being baptized. According to the researchers, the area would have been exposed to water dripping from the roof, which was considered sacred. Blanchard told Newsweek, "The study of the skeletons will allow us to understand the composition of the different groups buried in the abbey by observing their funerary practices. Specific studies will be carried out, for example, on their pathologies or on their diet. The study of residues taken from the latrines may provide us with information on the parasites and diseases that the nuns and their staff may have suffered from." They also hope to determine if all the skeletons are female, and if the abbey was only home to nuns. According to the researchers, some of the tombs were facing with their heads to the east, indicating they likely belonged to priests. In addition to the skeletons, archaeologists also found around 100 crates of ceramic artifacts, crates of animal remains, and more than 5,000 other objects including medals and rosaries believed to have been brought back from Rome as souvenirs, and a series of statuettes discovered in a trench. Researchers will continue to study everything over the next several years in the hopes of learning more about the lives of the people in the abbey and the surrounding area. I sincerely appreciate your patronage and support. We kindly request that you take a moment to like and subscribe to our channel. Doing so enables us to continue creating high-quality content for you. Thank you for your continued patronage and support.